Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. I'm so excited. I'm 2 days in a row for lives today, which was super cool. But I had an opportunity to be live today with the beautiful Annie, and her and I actually, yeah, you need to meet this woman. Her and I have actually had some scheduling things for quite some time. We've been trying to do this for over a month today. So when we get an opportunity to do it, we just freaking do it because it's fabulous. So I wanted to bring on Annie today. We're going to talk, of course, more about healing because that's what we do on here, and we freaking love healing. I have met Annie just this year and fell in love with this woman from the moment I met her. Her and I met in a beautiful mastermind group that we've been doing together. So I'm going to let Annie introduce herself so that I don't slaughter the heck out of it because she is an amazing woman and I want her to share with you what she does and then we can get into why we're here today. So if you're just coming on, I'm excited that you're here. Join us, say hi, and I will let Annie carry on.
Thanks, Gina. You guys, it's so exciting to be here. I'm just getting over a little cold, so if I sound a little scratchy, that's why. But we were not going to reschedule again, so we're doing it today. Oh, thanks so much for having me on. You guys, my name's Annie Pagaro. Pagaro, it's an Italian last name, but my husband's family is from the Dominican Republic. So, Pagaro.
Yay!
Yeah, lots of people try to say Paguero, whatever, but it's Pagaro.
Yeah.
So I help female entrepreneurs integrate spiritual development into their business so you can make more money online. And this has been kind of like the fourth iteration of my calling, my mission and purpose on this planet. I started out I went to school to be a special ed teacher, and
Really?
I found very quickly that the walls of the classroom were closing in on me. There was just no way. So I went back to school. My master's is in park resources management, and I wanted to make maps, right? Like I wanted to still teach, but also have a piece of like the outdoors in with what I did. But I did an internship with law enforcement rangers, and I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to do, right? So then I became a federal law enforcement ranger. I worked at some of the most amazing places in the lower 48, Yellowstone, Yosemite, Grand Canyon, Acadia. I never worked in Utah, but I visited all of the amazing parks in Utah. And then I resigned from that work for love. I met my husband at a wedding in 2010. He's an active duty Marine, and I resigned from my job with the Park Service, and he whisked me away. I mean, I'm really like a whiskable person, but like,
I don't think so.
it's whimsical when I describe it like that. So he like whisked me away to the Far East where we lived in Okinawa, Japan for several years, twice. And I realized when I got there, I'm like, well, I can't do nothing. I can't be a park ranger anymore. I can't like just join NCIS and like I'd still have to sign a mobility agreement. I can't continue in law enforcement. I was but really, really lost, like so lost. And, the military life is very, you have to move a lot, you have to become fast friends with people. And this was all like very overwhelming. And I, of course, took me several years to realize that turning over that gun and badge was like handing over my identity. So it was such a challenge, and I struggled for many years of like imposter syndrome, like just not feeling good enough. I started my online business in the health and fitness industry, and I loved doing that, helping women get healthy and fit. But what I didn't love was that most of the people that I worked with weren't really invested in it. Like
Mhm.
I could give them all the nutrition plans and everything, but it was really what we were thinking. It's not a
Yeah.
matter of like just handing over a nutrition plan. It's so much more. So that's what led me to get my certification in neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, and tapping and life coaching, so that I could help people on a deeper level. And that's what I do now while integrating spiritual development into business building. I love working with entrepreneurs because I feel like we're like a unique breed, right? Like we're creative, but there's also so many blocks that come up. And
Oh gosh.
I worked with Gina because I was having a lot of blocks, like a lot of stuff from that whole thing that I just told you
Uh-huh.
coming up for me. And I needed some help, some healing around that. So here we are.
Here we are. I was thinking back to her. Thanks for sharing all that. I didn't know some of that. I was like, that's super cool. Like, I mean, I knew about your military life and stuff, but I didn't really know all of the beforehand. That's so cool that you did the park ranger thing. And we love going to all the parks. We travel. We love to travel. We just love to, in the States, out of the States, whatever. Like, we don't care where we go. We just like to be going COVID's cramped our style a whole lot. We don't care. We'll get on a plane anywhere. But anyway, I love that you shared all that because it lets everybody see. I mean, you've got this big, wide open, versatile thing you got going on here. And I think you're just amazing. So we both, I was just laughing at our year and our time together because, well, it's been 6 months now almost. Like we're getting to that I think I was kind of giggling back to the beginning of our first 6 months together in the mastermind course. And there was some huge, I think we were all like in the blocking stage. Like you get into this course and she's like, you're going to grow your business this year. And we all go, what? Like the fear starts coming out and ego starts doing its thing and ego peaks at its finest because that's what ego does when we want to make changes. So let's talk about some of the things that we did for you during healing. And I feel like you and I are like on this same little path, but yeah, let's talk about some of the things that we did for you inside of healing because I'd love for you to share your experience and because I think healing is freaking amazing and it's life-changing for a lot of people. The dogs are going to bark and I just apologize. So dumb dogs.
Keep it real over here.
We are real. The garbage man is outside. Are you kidding me? Like
Can't stop that. It needs to stop.
We have to bark at the garbage man. He comes every Wednesday, but it's okay. So anyway, carry on.
Yeah, it was kind of twofold, like two major blocks that were coming up for me over and over and over again. Like I also thought that I was healed from these wounds and this trauma, but I always use trauma kind of light. I don't know why. Like I feel like sometimes unless our trauma is like so traumatic, we don't like to identify it with trauma because somebody else has always been through something much more challenging.
I was just gonna say, how many people have bigger stories than we do? They've gone through sexual abuse and they've gone through all the things, and we just feel less than. And so we're not a real problem. We don't have a problem. Like,
and that's part of the problem.
That is part of the problem. Like, I hear that too from so many people. They're like, well, I really don't have a story to tell. I'm like, yes, you do. Everybody does. Everybody has a story. Everybody has perceptions and things that they've been through. So, yes.
For sure. I mean, and that was one of the big things and that's the one I'll start with, was the thing that kept on coming up for me was this imposter syndrome, something that so many entrepreneurs struggle with. And like, people are like talking about it, but we're like, okay, I have imposter syndrome. I'm an imposter. Like, now what? Like, now what do I do with that?
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, okay, I know that I need to replace or like recognize that I'm having these thoughts and these feelings and shifted into something different. I was doing that, but it was still there.
Yeah.
And what you asked me to do in our session was you asked me to go to the place where I first started feeling this way, which I had done so many times. Like I've done so much inner child healing therapy. My very first time doing that was in Japan in 2018 with someone. I mean, we didn't even speak the same language, and she certainly didn't call it inner child therapy, but
No.
exactly what she was doing.
Yeah.
But so I have been to the place and the memory, and it was when I was 3 years old, and my family was all gathered together, and I was sitting underneath the dining room table because I was sick. I had a cold, and they were trying to keep me away, from the rest of the family. And I had internalized that and made it a story of I wasn't enough, or I wasn't good enough, or
Mhm.
I wasn't truly part of the family. And I'll add another layer for you that are listening to this. So another part of my personal story is that I'm adopted, and in 2017 I went live on Facebook asking for help in finding my birth family. And I thought that there was so much healing that went around this, but as you can see, this was all layered together. So it wasn't just one incident where I didn't feel good enough or felt like an imposter or who am I to be doing this.
Yes.
It was this lack of connection,
Yep.
but also that was the story that I was telling myself. It was these walls that I was putting up. Um, and a connection with my mother, not my birth mother, my mom, who raised me and who to this day provides all the nurturing, that I've ever,
Mhm.
an amazing, beautiful woman. Just these walls that I have been putting up in this life, around her and our relationship, and also see how this transferred into my marriage, into my
Mhm.
parenting, into my relationships, and now going back to now I'm a military spouse. I move every 3 years. I have to make fast friends. So what? I mean,
Yeah.
just take me back to the little girl under the table. I just want to sit there and just let me be there. So as you like, most of us have these many layers of our story,
Mhm.
and things that we create in our mind. So the that's where I was.
And it was really interesting to me because I mean, you were saying you've done inner child healing before. I don't think you had done it like we had done it before, though, had you?
No, and that was my point, because when we entered into this session together, and you asked me to go into the place. So here I am, I'm sitting under the table, and that's as far as I had ever got with
Mhm.
all of the other inner, therapy and healing sessions. I was able to recognize that time and that place. But where
Mhm.
you took me, Gina, was another layer that, like, I had never been able to come out from under the
Yep.
table. And it wasn't until my session with you that now when I go back to that memory, I'm in the living room. I'm with my family, everyone, I'm still sick and sniffly, but they're embracing me, and pushed away. I wasn't pushed away in the first place. I was creating that story in my mind.
Writing that story.
But after my session with you, now that memory is completely different. And for me, that is like, it's almost unbelievable. I'm like, how did my session with Gina like change my memory? But what you did for me, during that session was we replaced the thought process, and I went to that little girl I hugged her, and you went through a series of things that you asked me to say to her and sit with her and just have that moment with her, which I had done in the past, but the way that you facilitated it was just so very different.
It
And now,
actually gives me goosebumps thinking about it again, because I'm sitting here going, yes, we did that, like, and we channeled in that healing light. We changed the story for you. We released all of that old baggage and all of that old heavy stuff. So let's talk about what it's done, because I know that it's made some major changes in relationships for you. So we're a few months out. Like, this has been a couple months ago that we did this healing. Like, it wasn't just yesterday. She's not still integrating. The integrating is over. The process of getting all of this working together is over for her. So what has it done for relationships? What have you noticed has changed for you? And it's not that you're out there actively changing it either. Like, the energy has changed. What has changed for you?
yeah, I mean, my closest relationship, my marriage, we were really having some communication issues. Like, I feel like it's so common, but we're also afraid to say it. Like, yeah, we have trouble.
Everybody does. Everybody does. Like, we're all afraid to say it, though. We want to look like we all got our shit together, and none of us have our shit together.
Why? Like, and then it feels safe. Like, if you're on Instagram and you see like a quote card or something, and like that really resonates, and we could all be like, "Oh, I like it," or agree with that, or like high fives or something on that, instead of like really sharing like the real deal. But we're gonna share the real deal here, because that's what we do.
That's what we do. We like to be real.
I feel like the walls of like protection, like I wasn't able to fully articulate even like what my heart needed, like what my soul needed from our marriage. And especially if you, this might resonate with you, if like you have a spouse that's like a doer, and you are like a snuggler, and I mean, the love languages, like we all get that. But like, to have a session with you, Gina, where you helped me recognize that it wasn't that I didn't know how to communicate with my husband. And it was just that I kept on going to the place where I wasn't enough. Like, I was the girl under the table, and I was never going to be able to have a fulfilling marriage with my spouse, a relationship with my clients. If I was continuing to put up those walls of resistance in not feeling that my heart was worthy of receiving that abundance of love, of money, of having that energetic transaction, just in life, like across the board. One big thing that I teach is like not compartmentalizing, and like not trying to keep these things in a bubble, but to be able to open up and to receive healing in one area that spills out into other areas of our life.
That's what I love. I know, right? Like, if you are just coming on with us, I see we've got a few more people that have come on. Say hi to us and let us know you're here. I see Katie. Hello, Katie. Yeah, if this is resonating with you, like if any part of you is like, oh my gosh, because I think we all, like, relationships are big, and sometimes we just don't know why they're not working. And a lot of us want to blame our spouses. And I'm not saying that they're perfect either, okay? Like, by any means. But a lot of us want to blame other people in our life for why. I mean, he's just such an asshole some days. Like, he says the meanest things to me. He does all, and it's like, yeah, but you are coming at this. It's because our energy is out there of I'll never be enough. and they're feeling all of that, so they're reacting to all of that, all of this that we're adding to the relationship. Like, would you not agree? Like,
yeah, definitely. And sometimes from our spouse or from our friendships, or it might come out of them in a way like, she's crazy,
yeah,
or she's just whatever. That's what our marriage coach was saying, and I was like, oh, he's never said that to me, but he's said a lot of other
a
things.
lot of other things.
A lot of things that he didn't say, but it was causing a barrier, but it comes out in those different ways. And we stop it right there. Like, we get so wrapped up around, he said I was crazy, or he thinks I'm being irrational, or he thinks that I'm needy,
Yeah,
insecure. Those words hurt. I mean, those words really hurt. And we a lot of times, there's those walls again, and put up those barriers around it, and it's like, well, you said that I'm X, Y, and Z, not recognizing maybe I really need some healing around why I am putting out this energy into
yep,
the world and receiving it back, like, because it's just a reflection.
it is.
Why
Yeah.
you're getting it back. So what you do is so incredibly valuable. But the human, the person, like, you didn't come to me and say, oh, let me heal you. Like,
No.
I think you have this going on. Let me sit in a second. No, like, as a responsible adult,
Yep.
this is a public service message for
Right?
I mean, it really is, because, like, a lot of times we're like, okay, I need some self-care. I need to go. Like, I love sitting in the sauna. I absolutely am obsessed with sauna. Like, anything hot. Like, I love sitting in the sauna, and, like, that for me is self-care time. But I think a lot of us get that a little bit confused with
Yeah.
really legit taking care of yourself. And, booking a session with you, Gina, is like self-care on steroids.
Steroids. Yeah. I think that's the part a lot of people don't understand, because you can go get a massage and you can do all these cool things, but doing a healing session for yourself, I mean, it heals relationships, it heals lives, it heals all of these things. But yet we drag our feet on that because it's also a little scary to do. And it's a little scary to face those little girl under the table, or the demons in our life, however you want to call them. I don't call spirits demon. I call, man, some of our inner child healing is like literally like those are what's holding you back from living the life that you want to live. Like, and whether it's in our businesses, whether it's in our relationships, whether, and I had the same experience. It's been about 5 years ago, and my husband and I have been married for a few years. We just had our anniversary, but it was about 5 years ago, and I think it's probably been 6 years now. We were building a cabin, and we were both just at our wits' ends. And I remember I was the one that had to make the changes. And when I made the changes, our whole relationship changed. And I was baffled, like blown away that I had that much control over this relationship. I mean, his whole connection to me, his whole everything changed. And I think we can be on the same wavelength here and go, yeah, because they start reacting to us differently. They start doing things differently. And we're kind of back here looking at them going like, who the hell are you? Like, we've lived in the same house all these years and things are just changing. And all I did was go do my healing work. So would you agree with all of that? Like,
yeah, definitely. And like I said, is I feel like it's a real opportunity for us to look in the mirror, and instead of placing blame, like really taking responsibility and not saying, oh, that thing or situation or interaction, so many years, like when I was a kid or whatever, like that doesn't play a part. Like, we have to let that go and realize that a lot of those situations have like major impact on the way that we live our life right now. And yeah, go sit in the sauna, like get your nails done, get a massage, but like really digging deep with you. And like you said, it wasn't easy. I mean, we're talking about it now and enjoying this experience, but it was hard. And, you know, I was crying and I had to like really rest afterwards. And I think my husband walked in during it, and I was like, tears are coming. I'm like, I'm okay.
These are good tears. I remember you telling him these are good tears, and he's going like, you can see it over the corner. Yeah. It's gonna be okay, I promise you. Like, yeah, because it's hurt, and if I remember, we even did a little bit of forgiveness work. Like, we had to go do some things on that because that was huge for you. You know, when we carried all these things and we realized we want to go to this place of shame because we realize the hurt that we've caused other people too. But healing isn't about that. That's your ego going, yeah, you naughty little girl. Look what you have done again. Like, and so we don't ever want to go there in healing. This is where understanding comes in. This is where we do a little bit of forgiveness work, help that little girl understand that she did the very best she knew how to do. Because that's it. Like, that's all we got. You know, there is no, at the time, that was her understanding of it. Now she sees it in a different light. Hallelujah. Like, we can move on and we can go. There's other parts that need to be healing now, like, because it does never end. But for now, it's like, okay, we can move through that. And yeah, Shirley is saying we hold the power to shift patterns and addressing conditioning and patterns. Absolutely. Yeah. Nicole's on too. We'll say hi to Nicole. My favorite people together. Yeah. And Angie says good morning too. So yeah, if you have comments, put them in there because we're watching the comments. So yeah.
Yeah, and questions too. I mean, I think that really the most profound thing and the biggest takeaway for me from our session, and the most unexpected thing too, really, was like just completely changing my memory. I mean, like that like doesn't even feel real. Like how can that possibly be? You know, like when it was almost like a crutch for me, you know, like if I was like, well, I want to do X, Y, and Z in my business, and you know, whatever, and I have like these goals, and it was like, but if I don't reach that goal, it's because I'm still the little girl under the table.
Yes.
You know, and I didn't realize that's what I was doing until we had the session. Like I didn't go into our session saying, oh, I'm gonna heal this aspect, and like I didn't seek you out and say I need healing around this specific thing. It was just like, let's go and let's sit down and have this session, see what happens. Like I certainly did not expect to, like, when I think about this memory, seeing myself out of, there's no more underneath the table, and now I'm just out. Like I specifically feel like the embrace of my uncle sitting on the chair that my mom would always sit in. Like it's just a really beautiful memory now, instead of feeling
less than and pushed away like you weren't wanted. You know, and the whole adoption thing, I've worked with other people who have been through adoption, and I know my daughter has been adopted, and just by my husband. She's mine, but my husband, and there is those feelings of not being enough. And you know, how could my own mom not want me? And even though we don't want to go there, they're a thought pattern. We've created beliefs around them. It just is like, but understanding that, yeah, but somebody did want me. And somebody has loved me all these years, like, and they took care of us. And, you know, same with any parents. They've done some things that have caused issues. Like we all just like the little girl under the table because she's got a cold. And, you know, it's like, but yeah, there is some things wrapped around there for sure. But we've worked with those things and worked through. And talk to me a little bit if you feel comfortable doing. If you don't, that's okay. Your relationship with your mom, because I know that that's made there's been some changes there as well.
Yeah, I think that was another really powerful and unexpected part of our session together. I've frequently, you know, over the last 2 decades, you know, have reached out for healing around my adoption story, and it's more so over the last 4 years. But what I didn't realize that where I needed to heal was around my relationship with my mother who raised me. And the the image that you asked me to create in my mind when I was reflecting on my relationship with my mom has transformed. I'm sweating. Like it's just it's like I really have no words for it. Like it's transformed the way that I think about how she raised me, what she was doing,
Mhm.
as my mom, like in my early years. You asked me to take the umbilical cord and attach it to my mother. And, as soon as you said that, it was just like this giant release, like tears and sweating. And I'm like, it seemed so, well, yeah, of course I should.
Of course they should. Yeah.
Nobody, Gina, has ever said that to me or asked me to do that in my mind and in my heart.
Hmm.
And since doing that, I live in Virginia. My mom's a couple states away. I don't see her all the time, but thank God for video chat and FaceTime. So I know that the walls that I had been putting up for so many years have come down, and I know that she's always done everything that she knew in her heart was the best possible
Hmm.
to do for me. But I was the one that was creating that barrier in my mind. So the simple thought process. I mean, what would I even call that? It wasn't an act, but it feels like an act. Like it
It
feels
feels
like I
like
had
an
to do
act. It's more like the way that I would describe it is we were working with the cords and the connections between the two of you. The umbilical cord is symbolic of that relationship for you, which it needed to be that you had this umbilical cord or this connection with your mother, because that's what your heart needed, that's what your soul needed, that's what your soul had been longing for all of these years. Like, I just wanted to say yes, she's my mom, and not feel this little inside of me that was like, but damn it, she's not. Like, and now you can go, yeah, but she is my mom. I actually am like got a little choked up when you started talking about it, because I was like, oh my gosh, it was such a, and I just do what I'm guided to do, like literally. And I always ask, because you got asked, is this what you would like to do? What do you think about this? How does that feel? Like, because we would never do anything that didn't feel honoring to you or with anyone, because that's not how we work in this world. This is all done on beautiful love and light and for our highest good, like no doubt about that. But yeah, the changing of that, geez, I just got all
I
mushy
know.
over that all again, like, because it makes me all mushy, like, because changing that relationship was huge for you. And if I remember right, your mom was even was your mom sick during that time or right there close afterwards? Like, if I remember correctly, like, so there was a lot of high emotions going on as well, and a lot of other heavy energy that we were able to dump around that too, because we had done this healing session. So yeah, does anybody have any questions? Questions for Annie? You can ask her anything you like. Like, she has been very forthcoming with us, and it's always some people. I've asked people, "Do you want to come on it?" Because it helps other people when we talk about our stories. You and I both know this. This isn't a like when we share our vulnerable moments and share our stories. It helps so many people, and that's what you and I are here to do. Like, um, so yes, does anybody have any questions or comments, or is there anything else you would like to add, Annie? Like, have we missed anything?
Mm. I think, I mean, just the value of of a healing session with you and the unexpected transitions
Mhm.
and walls that have come down for me. Like really, that just was
Yeah.
really unexpected. And um, just to kind of paint a picture of the importance of getting this, like seeking out this type of work and being able to send Gina a message and say, yeah, like sign me up for that. Like I need that. I mean, I certainly didn't realize that we were going to do any umbilical cord things. I just did. I almost thought that it wasn't possible to do anything else around my adoption story. Like I didn't think that there was anything else. So,
Mhm.
what came from our session was just a whole new light that like I really just didn't even think was possible. Like it's just
You
so
know, it's funny. I hear that a lot. It's funny
yeah.
that you say that because when we first opened up, because I meet with people in Zoom because, I meet with people all over, like, and the first thing I ask is if is there anything that comes to mind? Is there anything that you want to work on? And most people are like, no, I don't know where we're going today. Like, I'm not sure why I'm here. Like, I can't tell you how many times I have heard that. And I'm like, oh, trust me, there's a reason you're here. Like, because we don't mess around when we do this kind of healing. This isn't like just your average little here, let's work through your feelings kind of thing. This is like we get to the deep,
Yeah.
deep nitty gritty. Like, this isn't surface healing. This is deep, deep, deep inner. We are done with that shit kind of healing. Like,
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, I'm like, what else can I heal? Like I feel like these were the two major things for me. Like
yeah,
girl under the table and not feeling connected to my mom. And what like I'm like, how is that possible to have so much healing around that in the time that we had together? But it was that like I was open to it. I was ready for whatever was going to happen during this session. I was ready for the kind of pain and the things that were going to come up for
yeah,
me. Like I had to be like not attached to
yes,
worrying about that and just saying, okay, Gina, I trust you and let's just
yeah.
let it flow.
That trust is huge, and I think that has to come in. And I know I've talked about that with you and with other people because you have to be able to trust your healer. If you don't trust them and you don't know that they've got your back, to me, it's not going to be a successful healing session. Because if you don't know that what I'm doing is for your highest good while you're over there sobbing in the corner and it's bringing up all of this old shit that you haven't thought about for years, yeah, like really, it's a deep emotional connection, and you really truly just have to trust that someone has your back, because it kind of knocks you off your butt for a minute, like, and it makes you want to second guess, like, what the hell was I thinking?
I
Like,
didn't pay for this. Like,
right.
I pay money for this transaction.
Like, yeah, so it's kind of one of those, but that trust thing is so huge, and finding someone who is at their highest, doing what is for your highest good. Because yeah, and I'm with you. I don't trust a lot of people just for that reason. When I find a healer that I trust, man, we are in. Like, we're doing it. And a lot of people, I just haven't, like, for the same reason, just for this very reason. You're trusting them with your deepest, darkest secrets, really. Like, and asking and kind enough to come on here and share those deepest, darkest secrets today. Like,
I mean, I also want to encourage people that, if you think that your story or your experience or whatever isn't worthy or doesn't constitute like a healing session, I want you to kind of rethink that and reframe that and say, what are the possibilities? Like, what if I sat down with Gina and had this healing session? What's possible for me? Like, would I really be able to replace this feeling of stress and overwhelm and not feeling good enough, or imposter syndrome, or disconnection, or problems in my, like, what if I was able to heal that and move on, and kind of rewrite my story and be
yep.
able to live my purpose.
Yep.
And what always gets me, like every time, it's like, you have this one body that you're living in here, in this moment, on this earthly plane. That's one piece. But the thing that really gets my heartstrings is the additional layer with these people. And
Yeah.
I think about my daughters, like, do I even have a picture? No. But like my little girls, you know, and it's like, I want to be the very best version of me so I can end the pattern of not feeling good enough, or, you know, not welcoming my own femininity or whatever, like those types of things. Like, I want to break the cycle so that they don't have to try to do it, like, so that they are, you know, better off. And
Absolutely. I mean, to me, if there's no other reason that you do it, it's stop the shit. Like, stop the madness, because it continues on. This pattern continues on. It continues on through families. We see it all the time. You see generations of people just growing up in the same pattern, doing the same things over and over again, and nobody having the courage to stand up and go, nope, we're done. This isn't. And I think for me and my process, and I know for you too, that is, I look at my kids and I do not want them to have to deal with the same things that I have dealt with. And I do not want that type of relationship to carry on for years and years and years. Again, like over and over again for centuries. Like, I don't want it to do it anymore. Like, so yeah, it's such an important thing to realize that we're not only doing this for ourselves. You're doing this so you don't rub off on your kids too, and they don't take your shit to the next level. Like,
yeah, and I've got to share this. Like, my daughter the other day was at tryouts for a travel soccer team, and I heard that some of the other girls were, you know, like being 8 and 9-year-old girls, and you know, weren't very kind. And I said, you know, were any of the girls not kind to you? You know, what happened down there on that field? And she goes, oh, mama, she goes, I don't think anybody would mess with an 8-year-old girl who knows what she's doing. And I was like,
well, all right then.
right, you know, like, and my job as her mother is to continue that, like, to keep that going, and to be able to have courage, like you said, like within myself, not to be like, I'm courageous. No, it's not about the ego and like being it's about doing what is best for her, you know.
To me, it's showing them talk is cheap. Talk is about as cheap as it comes. It's showing them, look, this is how you can live, and look, this is what you can do, and this is how it can be for you. And you are smart, and you are beautiful and amazing and all the things. And look what you can do.
Yeah.
And just showing them, because look, it's what I'm doing every day. Like, I'm out there doing the same things. I think for me, that's been probably the biggest. And I think for you, especially owning your own business, we do have to be courageous. We do have to step up to the plate. We do have to do, heck, it takes courage to come on and do this. Like, it's not easy. We had to get out of our own way when we started. I mean, I've been doing lives for a long time, and I know you have been too, but you know, it's not easy to come on here and be vulnerable with people either. But this is part of our stepping stone. This is part of our helping each other. This is part of us showing up. And I think it takes great courage to do that. And as we do that and show our kids that, like, look, you can be courageous. Like, you can do all these things. It's not always easy, but we can do all of these things. And we can do our own healing work so that I can be the best mom for you. Like, and the best wife and the best all the things. Like, I also believe too, and I keep hearing it, that we can't stay at the same level that we've already been and expect to progress through life. So if you choose to do nothing, if you choose to sit in the corner, if you choose to do all of those things, in 6 months or a year from now, you will be choosing to do the same dang thing that you're doing today. So there's that other side of it. So is there anybody that has any questions, comments, anything? I know I keep asking that. Shirley made a comment, a healer can get out of the way. A healer that can get out of the way, don't add their own projection. Yeah. To me, a healer has to do their own healing work or you're not going to be productive to anybody. And I'm here 15, 16 years down the road to tell you, yeah, like, there's always something to heal. There's always something to work through. There's always something. But yeah, and I know Annie does the same thing because we believe in the work. We can't keep moving up if we don't move our stuff out of the way too. So yeah, healing is important. So any final comments, Annie? Because I want you to know I appreciate you coming on here today and sharing your experience because I know that you will and have made an impact with people who are on today and those who will watch this on a replay. And so I appreciate you so much. I love your energy and I think you are one amazing woman. So if you're drawn to Annie, how can they find you, Annie? How can people find you to work with you?
Thank you, Gina. It's so my pleasure to be here. Yeah, you can find me at anniepiguero.com and we'll put the link down here in the comments, anniepiguero.com. And you can find me on Instagram at anniepiguero_, Facebook at Annie Piguero. So,
yeah. Shirley just said celebrating your healing, Annie.
Yeah, Shirley. Yesterday, I pulled this card from Gina's deck.
From my deck, focus on what you desire and leave the rest behind. Absolutely. Like, what do we desire in life? Like, I talked about that a little bit on my live yesterday. It was all about finding that peace and living in that peace, no matter what's going on in your life. Yeah, because
this one's a really good reminder because there's so much noise and so much that comes up. It's easy, very, very easy. And we beat ourselves up about that, like to lose sight of that focus of what you desire. And I think that word like desire kind of gets a bad rap. And it's like desire, that means I'm greedy, or it means it means I'm selfish. No, desire, like what your true heart's desire is. And a lot of times it all gets clouded. So I can't recommend a healing session enough. Like, just if you're feeling pulled to this and you have a question about it, like, please reach out to me. I'd love to chat about my session with Gina. It was just such a exciting, scary, but I'm so incredibly happy that we've had this session and that we're connected. Thank you.
Yes, well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you again coming on today. So thank you for being part of our discussion. Thank you for agreeing to do it. I know it's not easy to share our garbage, but I think it's very helpful. So I know that you will make an impact on someone today. There was someone here that needed to hear what you had to say. So I appreciate that so much. And I appreciate you guys all being here. If you're watching this on the replay later, you have questions, anything, please feel free. We'll watch the comments. Annie's tagged in this also. So if you have comments for her, you can direct them towards her or questions or any of that. So we appreciate your time today. Thank you for all being here. And we will see you all again very soon. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Maybe.